What's up, everybody? So today in the shop I have a 2018 or 16, I'm not really too sure, Mercedes AMG 45 GLA45, sorry. Now this car is a bit interesting because at first it was a call out, so I went all the way towards downtown and the guy just had a dead battery, so I confirmed that his old battery had 5 volts, and so I replaced that. Car got started, he was good on his way. As soon as he got to the first red light, he said the car stalled out on him. And he said he saw the auto start stop button, which is right here. It turned green and the car turned off. So I'm assuming the car was just doing the auto start stop function, which is standard on these. But he said that when he wanted to go, the car didn't start back up. So let me just show you real quick what happens when you try to start the car. So in the car right now, key, I don't know where the button's at, but so very weird. It's like it wants to start, but it can't. Let me tell you what I did next. I had a jumper pack. The battery says April. As of recording this video, it is now June. So I was like, okay, maybe the battery sat on the shelf for a few months. It was low. So I put the jump pack on it. Car still didn't start. I brought my car, tried to jump it. Car still didn't start. So that's where we're at now. And I was just doing some basic diagnosing when I figured I'd start recording because it's getting interesting. This is the starter relay. So took this out, verified everything, and we do indeed have power where we need it. It's not gonna show now because I gotta turn the key, but this right here, this is the feed. This goes towards the starter. This I believe is power, and then this is ground, right? So kindly enough, Mercedes provides a diagram right here. So if you guys need that, right there. Now the next thing I tried to do, I turned the ignition on. So ignition on, and I will demonstrate with the amp clamp. Put this on amps. Obviously this isn't thick enough, but I put one end in the feed, and essentially what I want to do is bypass the whole computer controlled portion of it in case there's like a voltage cutoff or whatever. So there's one, and what I want to do is put this around the amp clamp so we can see how much current the starter draws when it tries to crank. So put this end as well. You could hear car tried to start, and look at that. We're drawing a constant 30 amps. The amp clamp's on backwards, that's why it's negative, but 30 amps, and this is gonna start heating up soon. So what does that sound like to you guys? Is the engine seized? Well, no, because I took the breaker bar, put it on the crank bolt, engine spins over freely. So what else could we have? What I'm suspecting at this point, after doing all of this diagnosing, is that we have some sort of a voltage drop at the starter itself. So if you look down here, there it is. That's the starter. And this is the wire that goes towards the starter. Now, oddly enough, we have a crack right there. Right? So on the wire that goes towards the starter, we have a crack. And what I did is try to check for voltage with the multimeter. So I got one end on ground, and if I go on the actual battery, oops, I'm on amps. If I go on the actual battery, we have 11.87. Now the car's been on for a while. I was diagnosing, but it was at like 12.5 earlier. And here, we have millivolts. So what I want to do is just put a alligator clip on this and monitor it while I try to crank the car. So let's do that. Alright, so I got the alligator clip hooked up. I'll turn on the light on this, and I'll set this up so we can monitor it. Alright, so I'm going to crank the car now. 3, 2, 1. Oh, actually, I need to put the relay back in, my bad. Alright, here we go again. 3, 2, 1. So you can see we get some activity. I don't think this is fast enough to capture it, so we'll have to put a scope on it if we want to be accurate. But we could also do the same test with a test light, so let's do that. Alright, so I got the lights dim so you guys can see. I'm going to try to start it. 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, we do have test light coming on. Alright guys, so where are we at with this now? So obviously we have command of the starter. We even tried to manually turn over the starter. Our engine is not locked up. We checked that with the crank bolt, although I didn't record that, but trust me. So why is the starter not engaging? We have good battery power. We tried to jump it. I tried to put an additional battery on it. At this point, I'm suspecting either the actual starter is bad or we have some sort of voltage drop, corrosion, something like that. So let me come up with some tests to do next. I really want to check voltage drop, and if we can, we'll try to get at the starter, which is under all of this. Alright guys, so what I've done is I've set up the oscilloscope, and we're literally across battery positive and ground. And you can see we have a reading 12.50. And what I want to do is hook this up to the starter lug, which is right here, or essentially the one that goes to the starter. And right now we're at 0. And what I want to do is just measure voltage drop. So actually, let me see if I could add some more measurements onto here. Alright, so those are the only two useful measurements. But yeah, we're just measuring voltage drop from the actual battery positive to over here on the starter lug, in case the actual issue resides within this. So I'm just going to try to start it and see what happens. Alright, let's go see. And we have something. Yeah, would you look at that? There seems to be a fat voltage drop. Obviously we got it on a very, very slow time base, but if that's from the starting event, which I don't know why I would show up so late, and there's definitely something crazy going on. So let me take this off and take a look at this. I think our issue might be right here. Alright guys, so this is the positive battery terminal. And then I just took this off because I couldn't move it out the way. I just have this book so it doesn't touch the positive. And I tried to take this one off, the starter wire. I was very gentle with it, very gentle. And you can see it just broke off. And if you look on the back, it looks like it takes power from 2 points of contact, so this being one of them, and then this being another. So I don't know how I'm going to get this off because I was gentle with it and it broke, but let me try to figure that out and then I'll get back. Alright guys, so it completely broke off. So that's what goes to the starter. This kind of sits on here. Starter wire sits on here. And then obviously those two contacts are supposed to be in contact with these two. Now if you look at them, it looks like they move. So I'm not sure if that's some sort of breaker or not. But what I want to do is just get the multimeter on here and mess with this and see how it works. And then I'll let you guys know. Alright guys, so I got the multimeter attached. It'll beep if we have continuity. And what I'm finding is this side. So this is obviously the side that goes to the battery, and this is the piece that goes to the starter. There's no continuity, it's an open line. However, this side, where this lug was attached to, as you can see, it's kind of straight through. Let me turn on the light actually so you guys can see better. You go straight through, and that's what these are. And you could hear that. You could hear that. So I'm wondering if these are some sort of like a thermal breakaway, kind of like a breaker. And if so, that would make sense. But then when does this get triggered, right? Or is this just a current sensor? Because there is a connector back here, so I'm assuming that's just part of a current sensor system. So now I'm wondering if we connect this directly, will the car start? That's my question. So, but then again, we weren't getting voltage unless we were cranking it. So I don't know. So it's a weird situation, but we shall see. Alright guys, so I did some research, and this is a battery current limiter. So this will protect things in case of an overcurrent situation. Alright, and now if we look at the diagram at the top, it helps out a lot. So I wasn't looking at this earlier, but essentially what we have is terminal number 30. So that's going to be the battery. And then S is going to be the starter. Okay, so, and then over here we have another terminal, which I'm not sure what that's for. But both of these are switched, right? From the battery to the starter, it's a switched circuit. So the starter won't get power unless you crank the key. And then same here, whatever this is switched as well. And then you do have constant power going to the starter via a resistor. Now I'm pretty sure that's going to be for the current sensing capabilities of this. And then here you have a connector. Now, funny enough, this connector only has 2 wires coming out of it. And one of those wires is terminal 50. 50 is going to be the starter signal. and then terminal 31, which I'm not sure what that is. I gotta research, but I know 50 on Mercedes is the starter signal. So what happens is you get starter signal through this, and then that'll cause this to close and then send power to the starter. So I want to kind of try to bypass this just to see if we can get the car to start. If we can, then we're going to know 100% this is faulty. So I'm wondering if I just touch this directly to the battery, what's going to happen. I might have to rig up like a little fuse or whatever, but yeah, let me see what I could come up with and then I'll try this. Alright, so just a quick point of correction. This other terminal, which is switched as well, is also that goes straight to the starter as well. Alright, so what I've done now is I've essentially hooked everything back up except for the starter feed wire. Now I'm afraid if I hook this up directly, it's gonna crank the starter over. But at the same time, I don't know if the solenoid would get feed, or maybe it just doesn't have a solenoid. Maybe it's all on just one circuit. So I don't know. Let me just try to crank it without that though. I'm just curious. Well, something happens. I think it's the solenoid that's getting fed, because you hear some clicking, but the starter doesn't try to spin like it used to. So I think this is just for the motor, and then the solenoid is a different feed. Not too sure. Regardless, what I want to do is just go with a fuse. Now these wires are definitely not thick enough, but this is a 40 amp fuse, just a normal one, and then I want to try to connect these. So one end on battery and then one end on the starter wire. So let's try that. Alright, so one end on battery positive, going through the fuse. Other end, I'm just gonna... Alright, so that doesn't do anything, which is kind of good. That's what I wanted. Make sure we're not gonna touch any grounds. Now, I want to try and go and start it. Now, again, I don't know if this is thick enough, but we'll see. Worst case, the fuse pops. So, let's see. Oh, I heard some sparks. It's trying to start, that's for sure. Fuse pop? Yeah, fuse popped. Don't know if you guys can see that, but yeah, the fuse popped. So, we gotta try this with a thicker wire. Oh yeah, those are warm. Okay, let me try to do this with a thicker wire, and then let's see what happens. Cause I really think this current limit thingy is what's causing all of our issues at this point. All right, guys, new setup. I have here a 100 amp fuse. Now the issue is this is for AC, not DC, so I don't even know if this is gonna work. And then over here I have it connected to the starter lug. So I'm just gonna try to start it with this, I guess, and see what happens. Alright guys, I also added an amp clamp and I put it to max just in case anything happens. I want to see what was the maximum draw. So anyways, let's go ahead and try this out. Let's hope for the best. Hey. Alright, so that's all it was. It's this thing, like I said. No need to dig in, get the starter and all that. All we need is a new one of these, or we could bypass it, even though that's not safe. And we'll be set. And then as far as the maximum draw, it was 263 amps. Wow. So this didn't do anything. But yeah, that's crazy. Alright guys, so off camera I went ahead and installed the new current limiter. It's pretty dark, so I didn't get to record it, but the car starts up reliably now. The auto start stop works and everything works perfectly. So that's another diagnostics and repair done. As always, I hope y'all learned something. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see y'all next time. And as for bonus footage, you guys can enjoy this clip of us doing a launch control pull on the car. This is an AMG after all, so we had to, make sure the repairs were done. Anyways, I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching.